Yeah.
Welcome, Adrian, to Metallerium website. It's a great pleasure to talk with you about the Ad Infinitum, this new album, Chapter 3, Downfall, and more things related to the metal world. Well, starting for the question, how has the band been during these 2 years? Because you release in a full way from 2020, 1, 2, 3, and 4 albums now. So how is the creative moment at the band? Because 4 albums in 3 years, that's amazing.
Yes. This creativeness thing, it's all about consistency. So we try to keep that muscle in shape, and it's a lot of fun to keep working on new songs, and we have the time. So why not writing new songs? We're already thinking about other songs as well. So this doesn't stop. And I mean, there were no concerts happening in the Corona times, so we did not have anything else to do. So that's why we have 4 albums now.
Okay, okay. Well, it has been more than 2 years since you released your debut, Chapter 1 Monarchy. So later you released an acoustic version and all very complicated during the COVID times at that time. But now, 2 years, well, 2 albums without COVID. So how you feel now to release 2 albums without COVID? And how was the experience to release or your second album during this at that time complicated times?
Um, Releasing the second album was not easy, that's true. But mostly because of we had to record an online show and make things work, how to distribute this to the whole world, and that's just a shitload of work. And with the third album releasing now is perfect. We're looking to a very bright future, a very nice year. A lot of adventures are coming our way. We have a fantastic festival season this year, and it feels so good to be back.
Hmm. Okay, okay. Also, you are one of the few bands that since the beginning you are signed by Naval Records since your first album to now. So how is important it's for you to bank work with this label because it's one of the biggest ones.
Yeah, it's a great work to have their network, have their experience on our side, have their promotional possibilities on our side. They have all the contacts. They know how to make things work, and they are a great partner. So, yeah, we're looking forward to continue this partnership. And yeah, it's been a great time.
Hmm. Okay. Oh, this album released in a few weeks. I know their sound is very diverse in this new one because you have alternative sounds, symphonic metal in general, a lot of gutturals into there. So what can we expect in terms of sound or lyrics to these new albums? Who came with the idea of mix these aspects to alternative symphonic metal? Because I think these last 2 or 3 years the alternative metal of 5 years, the alternative metal will have a stronger revival.
Um, it's interesting because we don't really see us as a symphonic metal band. It, of course, it started as a symphonic heavy project from Melissa, but since we are all writing these songs and we all have different backgrounds and visions of how a song should sound, it's been a hell of a ride. We Songwriting with this band is amazing. We all have these inputs and ideas, and it's very diverse and heavy, catchy, a little bit symphonic, a little bit tribal heavy, a little bit of metalcore, a lot of catchiness. All these elements combined. I don't know what it is exactly in the end, what kind of genre. But I'm fine with modern symphonic metal, even though I am not a big fan of the symphonic metal genre in general, but I like our music. So I don't know where we are exactly.
No, okay, that's well. Well, when I hear for the completely this downfall or chapter 3, so I denote a lot of degen parts because that's a common thing now in your music. So there's a lot of mix there. So that's interesting to hear because it's not, for me it's not symphonic metal like the words like the tag said symphonic metal. It's more like alternative degen metal, something like that, some with rock aspect because and you confirm this because with your with your pullover architects, well, that's that say that degen you are a degen fan, well, a modern metal fan. So that's
Yeah.
interesting. So well, talking about from the past, I found a lot of great reviews from your first album. So after a successful debut, did you feel some pressures about making a new album each month or each year? Cause how was the process of composition of this new one? Did you face the problems when did you face some problems or some pressures to say when this we did 2 years ago a new album, now 2 years later we have a new album. Perhaps you are repeating some rhymes, some schemes, some riffs. That is normally in this process because when as you are creating this way to compose. I think every year you release a new album.
Um, so we are not afraid of being too repetitive with our ideas because there's so much to write about and still there's so much to tell. I mean, we are all professional musicians for years and we have so much to show you. But yeah, it was when we did the second album, the first album was very intimidating because we worked with a producer back then. The second album was self-produced, and we of course had this huge bar to reach of this production standard, which was very intimidating. But for the third album now, we were super secure that we will manage this, and we had a lot more experience and a way bigger skill set to do this. So and I think also that the evolution is cool that we did.
Okay, since your since chapter 2 legacy, you start to use you start to use feature vocalists like in the first one. Neil Smolin was in as a feature in the previous one. Now you are using, so you are with Kriegel Glanzman and Elias Holman as a future members in the band. So when you are compose the songs from an album that they're into or they're involved in that song, so did you think that this song person will feature in that song, or perhaps you compose all and later in some jokes during the rehearsal, hey man, this song is much better if Kegel Glanzman will feature there.
Um, yeah, we all write the songs without any plans of having a feature. And only after the song is done, we see, okay, is there space for a feature? And then but Kriegel has a very small spot. He's just speaking in the intro of one song. It's not a real feature, I'd say. Because we didn't want to put us in the position that the fans expect for every album a feature, because this is not super easy to manage. And the third album is pure Ad Infinitum sound.
Okay, one detail that I noticed in your cover art since chapter 1 Monarchy is that usually into the cover art there is Melissa is on the front cover, then all members are in the cover and the four cover arts. So that's a curious thing. Why do you what do you decide to use all members into the cover art and not as usually metal bands using their some graphics, some cover arts from the lyrics or from the name of this. So why does continue use the members on the cover arts?
Honestly, I'm not so sure. Melissa kind of wants it that way. We discussed about it a lot. I would be okay with having not the band on the album. I think it's also cool and gives more freedom to present a nice artwork. But I think for the third album, it's also very, very cool what we did there, the mood, the vibe, the general atmosphere that speaks through the picture is kind of cool. And I think it represents the album as well. Very good. But yeah, I think for the next album, will take a turn for the general artwork design.
Okay. Other aspect that I didn't know into your discography, especially is the name Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3. So this concept will continue in the next albums, like because this is not the first time that the band used Chapter 1, Chapter 2, because as you remember, a band from Germany called Metallic used these aspects from Chapter 1 to Chapter 8. So 8 albums are released by this chapter. So perhaps you will continue as they with chapter 4, 3, 4, etc., etc. Or perhaps the next album that you are thinking now are change the complete subject, no?
Yeah, we already have a concept for our future, and it's a little bit too early to talk about it. But after chapter 3, this episode of chapters will be closed. And this will be a trilogy, these 3 albums. And for the 4th album and so on, we already have another concept that will break with the chapter idea. But we are in conversation with our label, what they think of our idea, and then let's see how we go on from there. So it's just too early to say something, but we have a kick-ass concept for the future, and we're very excited to pursue this.
Okay. So other aspect that I don't know. Well, I think this is a general question in general, talking about the metal aspect. As you remember, at the end of the 90s, at the mid 90s, when from the gothic metal appears, like the American media said that the Paradise Lost gothic is like metal, gothic metal, no? But at that time that album doesn't play gothic metal. But since the end of 90s, a lot of people are related this symphonic metal aspect with the gothic metal, especially for the American media. So they told about the Nightwish, Epica, Within Temptation, Evanescence. There's a future a band when a female fronted play sings in that kind of bands, the band are related with the gothic metal. So what's your opinion about now that a lot more than 20 years that existence that these symphonic metals appear in the world, but now and I think a lot of people think that when a female fronted like Infinitum has, they are playing some gothic metal stuff.
I'm not very familiar with gothic metal. So I don't know if it applies to us. But I don't think so. No, I don't think that gothic metal is something that we are familiar with or ever intended to do. If so, that's a coincidence. I mean, the music just is made out of 12 different notes, so that some things might overlap is very likely to happen.
Okay. So we are living in a world that usually now the music is spread like the 40s and 50s, when the music spread just by singles at that time. So just one single and a hit at that time. But now we are returning to these to these forms of spread music. So if you count the opportunity to select one song from this new chapter 3 Dawnfall, which songs will be, or which songs for you are capture whole essence from this new album? It's a very difficult one.
I think the very first song on this album, Eternal Rains, it's not out yet, but I think this one captures the general atmosphere of the whole album and our progress as a band very, very well. It has all the tribal aspects. It has this mystical atmosphere that we were inspired by this Oriental theme. It has a very nice key changes, interesting rhythms. It's very diverse and it has a ton of ear candies. So I think this one represents every aspect of the album the best.
Okay, you told me at the beginning that the Melissa was created this at Infinitum in 2018. No? Then you, Nicholas, and Corbinian entered to the band and changed completely the sound. So now that Melissa is in charge from the vocals, well, as the lyrics, as the melody parts into the vocals. So who is totally in charge of the composition process? You or perhaps you or Nicholas change some guitar aspects and then create the music, or perhaps is Melissa involved with some riffs that perhaps it's involved with this aspect. Who knows?
We are all involved and we all have our things to say when it comes to songwriting. I mean, for example, when I write a riff, I often send it over to Niklas to complete the instrumentals or do the drums, and then it goes to Melissa to think of a melody idea, or Melissa starts with a song and sends it to Niklas, and he might do a verse and then sends it to me so I can finish the chorus. I often start to work on songs together with Corby, so he comes here to my place, and we are working on some riffs together and arrangements and design some soundscapes or effects. So in the end, when someone has an idea, hey, I think I could add this and that, we just send us our ideas, and so the other person can take over. So in the end, that's why some songs might have surprising twists in the middle of it, and the songs general sound so different from each other. But there is no head of songwriting.
Okay, well, sometimes there is exist because a lot of bands they're just focusing one person, two person, they share with all one. Well, that's normally so one person's the most creative person into the band. So
Yeah.
now talking about from Switzerland, some Switzerland, there is a country we'll know by Celtic Frost, Hellhammer. Well, that's a huge step from the extreme metal around the world. Now the word changed into the music, especially Swedish, well, Switzerland. So how was now the metal scene in Switzerland? Because since Celtic Frost, since Hellhammer, a lot of things happen now, more than 30 years, more than 40 years now. So, but the Switzerland scene are lost in time with big names into the music industry, well, into the metal music industry.
I mean, we played a few times in Switzerland, but I think the fans are very dedicated to their bands. I don't know how I don't know many bands from Switzerland except Elovite. And I mean, Melissa is from Switzerland but lives in Denmark right now, and we are all in Germany. So we had our release show there for the second album, and which was really great because people from Germany, France, and Switzerland and Italy were coming, and it was a great event. But generally, I don't know how they are doing with metal right now.
Okay.
I think our strongest foundation for the band is definitely in Germany. We have the strongest metal fans here, and then comes the USA, and then France and Switzerland. So yeah, but we will play a lot of festival shows in Germany, therefore.
Okay. So could we say it now that Ad Infinitum is no longer anymore a Switzerland band? It's more like international band because you say Melissa's in Denmark and now all members are in Germany.
Yeah. It's not as Swiss anymore. It's no, exactly. It's more international or European.
Okay, I said this because a lot of bands were some for example, some people here from South America, they now live in Europe or US, and some bands are still kept maintain they're a band from Argentina, from Colombia, from etc countries, no. So, but
Yeah.
all another bands that when change the country, they change complete. The band etc from Brazil that was born in Brazil in 2022 and then changed this year from Spain. Now the band is now it's a Spanish band. It's no longer anymore. It's a Brazilian band. So that's the way that I say this.
Yeah.
So, well, we are very close to this interview, Adrian. So for that, what are the future plans that the band has for this chapter 3? Perhaps you will promote with more videos because you did a lot of videos for this new album. And perhaps you will do more tours in Europe. Perhaps you will schedule a Latin American tour in the next couple years, months, who knows? Or North American tour, who knows?
Yeah, we are planning to do all of this. The thing is that we are okay. First of all, we play a lot of festival shows in Europe, and we are in America for sure on the Prog Power Festival in Atlanta, Georgia, and we have tours planned out and everything. We just cannot announce them yet. It's always the thing that we are still will be still the smallest band in all these lineups, so we are the last people who can decide something or announce something. But we are working hard on it. We're negotiating right now to make everything possible. And we are very excited for it because something will happen for sure this year. And it will be great.
Okay. One thing that you said that is now, well, you are considered a small band, perhaps underground band, as we say, because there is a normal that in the metal world say underground, mainstream band, etc., etc. But a curious thing is that when the fan thinks that, the way of the thing of the fan is when a band like Infinitum enters to Naval Records, Nuclear Blast, Century Media, Metal Blade, the bigger labels into the metal world. Now they are no longer as an underground band. Now it's more considered like a mainstream band. So perhaps did you hear something like this? Now at Infinitum is more like a mainstream band because you have a lot of people behind you doing tours, doing videos, during promoting area with many people entering. There's not like a new band or like band like you with 3 or 4 records, but they're more small ones that they are doing by themselves.
What's the question now?
So perhaps
Sorry.
do you still consider as an underground band, or perhaps you are a more mainstream band because you are with Naval Records?
Something in between. I don't know. I don't think that we're underground. We're no local heroes. We could never be local heroes because we're so placed in all Europe. So we're on a way to become a big band. I think the way is it will happen somehow that we get some kind of standing in the near future, but I don't think there will ever be oh, we made it. This will never happen because it's nothing, no achievement lasts forever. We have to keep going, keep on the grind, and just maintaining our energy and our output, and that's the goal. But I don't know when we will reach the mainstream status. I don't know if it's a good thing. Is it a good thing? I don't know.
Okay. Well, Adrian, sad times arrive at this interview. I hope you enjoyed this one like me doing this one. Perhaps do you wanna congratulations for this new album. We will do the review as soon as possible. Perhaps do you want to add something to your Latin American fans because you have it. That expect a long about no long time, but because I expect a full Latin American tour some day, some month or some year, who knows? Metalero followers.
Yeah, I would love to do a South American tour. We are negotiating something right now, but as I said, it's nothing certain, and we hope to make a good announcement very soon.
Great.